The United States enjoys the highest possible sovereign credit rating of AAA. This rating is wrapped up in all kinds of economic, social, and political factors and is generally not relative with the experience of everyday people. What would happen if Uncle Sam applied for a loan in his local bank? What if we calculated the United States credit rating like our own is calculated? Let's figure out Uncle Sam's FICO score. The most positive aspect of the credit report is the fact that the U.S. has never missed a payment. Any creditor is paid when they cash in a Treasury security. Of course, the government can just print money to meet its needs, devaluing its currency in the process, but at least there are no phone calls from collection agencies. Not the most attractive part of the report, the U.S. owes over $10.5 trillion to its creditors. If the $2.7 trillion the U.S. collects each year in taxes is its income, then the government owes almost 4 times its yearly take. Compare that to your own debt level, and you can see why this seems insurmountable. The U.S. is currently using about 93% of the congressionally set credit limit. Whenever it looks like the U.S. will max out its credit cards, the limit is raised. The U.S. first went into debt to finance its own birth, the Revolutionary War. It needed to borrow money to issue the first paychecks and has ever since owed money to somebody. Over 200 years is a long time to build a credit history and define spending habits. Whenever there is a war or financial collapse, the U.S. borrows heavily. Any creditor can see that the U.S. is currently in the midst of both. The good news is that the U.S. has experience managing different types of credit. Long-term, short-term, and a variety of debt instruments show an apt ability to manage finances according to most credit companies. The bad news is that the U.S. has a lot of creditors. Millions of them if you include individual holders of notes and bills. The major players are numerous too. $500 billion owed to China and Japan apiece, and the list goes on. Other major creditors include the U.S. states themselves and large mutual fund and insurance companies. So the U.S. is in a bit of a jam and has had to borrow more than usual lately. The credit limit was raised and there have been some recent spending sprees. The U.S. has had to entice future creditors with attractive rates. A flurry of spending does not look good on a credit report. Now, if this information is run through a FICO score calculator, the United States would receive an average score of 645. Applying for a loan, this would put the United States in the subprime category. If Uncle Sam wanted to buy a house, he would get a rate of 7.836% for a 30-year fixed rate. A new car on a 60-month loan would be 11.899%. The credit report of the United States is not attractive to creditors, except for the part about never missing a payment. This is huge and what keeps the creditors coming back for more. As long as creditors accept the U.S. dollar as a form of payment, the U.S. FICO score will remain stable. The best actions the U.S. could take to improve its score is the same things we all could do. Take steps to reduce the mountain of debt and cut back on reckless spending.